During World War II, when the army of other countries was eating bread with salt, the American soldiers not only ate lunch meat and threw up, but also gave it a disgusting name called garbage meat. But this is exactly what made them mention the garbage meat of France, which greatly accelerated the global anti-France war. Today, I will tell you about how a can of unobtrusive lunch meat became the key to changing the history of World War II. The lunch meat can of the American soldiers was not military food at first. Its appearance is to be mentioned from the economic Big Ten. At that time, the American economy was in a mess. A large number of agricultural products could not be sold, and they could only rot in the ground. Even milk was poured into the river. But one of the founders of the Hormel company, GAE Hormel, saw the business opportunity from it. He used ham, pork, sugar, salt, and water to mix with potato powder to make a special meat can. Then he also added azelaic acid to it. It can be stored for a long time, and it can make it look fluffy and tender, and it can make people's appetite rise. Hormel thought that this product would sell well, but no one asked for the price. People with money don't want to eat it, but poor people can't afford it. In this way, its sales are naturally low and poor. So the Hormel company changed its marketing thinking. First, they changed the packaging to iron skin to make it look high-end. Then they changed the amount to small and lowered the price to $40. Then they changed it to Spam lunch meat, which means it can replace lunch. This small change suddenly moved the American people, because at that time only government officials and business elites would hold lunch parties. The American working class didn't have the habit of eating lunch. And Spam lunch meat was priceless, and it could also satisfy their target of the elite class. Therefore, when Spam lunch meat was on the shelf, it was stolen by a large number of workers. According to this situation, Hormel company promoted it as a lead. As time went by, lunch meat was becoming popular in the working class. Many workers would open a can of lunch meat for lunch in the afternoon, and those poor families also chose to use this cheap lunch meat. As for Hormel company, they made a lot of money. A few years later, the United States passed the economic downturn instantly when the American people's lives got better. The sales of Spam lunch meat naturally dropped, but not long after, the Second World War broke out. The European battlefield was short of supplies. They needed food, medicine, ammunition, and other war supplies. The United States issued a large amount of supplies to European countries, and the cheap and safe Spam lunch meat was on the list. From the war perspective, Spam lunch meat is the perfect military food. It used pork and potato flour as the main ingredients. It also used oil, salt, and other seasonings. It can provide people with 42 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbon dioxide, 80 grams of fat, 1,020 grams of calories, and 1/3 of the daily salt, and a small amount of vitamin C, calcium, and iron, which is very nutritious. And its iron-plated packaging is easy to transport and carry. Yashasana can ensure that the meat will not be corrupt and can be stored for a long time. More importantly, its purchase price is very cheap. From 1941 to 1945, the U.S. military spent only $3.73 billion. They bought tens of millions of cans of Spam lunch meat from Hormel company. It's less than $10 per can. But because Spam lunch meat is cheap and large, the U.S. soldiers eat 3 meals a day. No one can stand it. More importantly, Hormel company also changed the recipe of lunch meat in order to lower the cost. It reduces the amount of meat, and the taste will naturally become worse. So the U.S. soldiers gave the lunch meat a lot of nicknames such as garbage meat, dead meat, and so on to express their dissatisfaction. They even used it to wipe their shoes and guns. But the U.S. soldiers never thought that the U.S. soldiers would be so popular in other countries. In the UK, the people are suffering from the war. They can't even eat flour. They can only rely on carrots. the U.S. and U.S. lunch meat is undoubtedly a treasure for them. Even the Iron Lady Satchel said many years later the happiest thing for her when she was a child was to eat lunch meat cans. The Soviet soldiers were also very loyal to lunch meat cans. Before they had lunch meat cans, most of the time they could only eat onions and salt and eat black bread. But after having lunch meat, they would cook the meat into paste and then put it on the bread. This way they could instantly regain their fighting power in the snowy winter, and they could satisfy the hunger strike. It's a good thing. According to statistics, during World War II, more than 100 million pounds of lunch meat were transported from the U.S. to overseas. Not only did they fill their stomachs for the U.S. soldiers, but they also brought victory to the people who were in the war. Think about it. When the two sides were almost equal in strength, one side would eat bread every day, and the other side would eat lunch meat cans every day. After eating like this for a month, which side do you think has a stronger fighting power? Of course, the food of World War II is not just lunch meat cans, but these cans are convenient to carry and transport and can be used to protect and provide protein for a long time. It is the best choice under the U.S. soldiers also have better tastes, such as special wild foods such as duck shortbread, and seasonings such as fruit sauce and salt, and even Coke, chewing gum, chocolate, and other snacks. They can all be eaten. And this is mainly due to the U.S.'s strong control of space and industrial production capacity, and to suppress the post-war level of Japan and Germany. After World War II, a U.S. woman can make a cake with sugar, butter, eggs, and flour and transport it to the European battlefield and hand it over to her son who is in the front line. And an ordinary U.S. soldier can also be divided into rich military supplies and send his personal goods to his family in China. In short, the U.S.'s strong air transport system can also take good care of every soldier and even let them be able to distribute smoke and Coke every day. In comparison, German standard soldiers have 20 grams of coffee every day, 20 grams of noodle soup, 140 grams of baked meat pie, 20 grams of fat, 1,500 grams of salted potatoes, 200 grams of spinach stewed meat, 50 grams of cream, 3 eggs, and 750 grams of bread. But in actual combat, they will be discounted. This is something that small countries will never learn. What do you think?